Now coming to the next bone here, that is, this is the palatine bone. So this one is the palatine bone. The palatine bone, it forms the posterior part of the hard palate. ठीक है? This is the palatine bone. ठीक है? So it consists of the horizontal part and the perpendicular part. So this is the perpendicular part, and this is the horizontal part of the palatine bone. Now first coming to the horizontal, the horizontal part. The horizontal part, it presents three surfaces. This is known as the palatine surface, and opposite to this there is a nasal surface, and then another that remains on this side, that is no that is the lateral surface. This palatine surface, it is smooth, and at the middle it presents foramen. This is known as anterior palatine foramen. ठीक है? This is the anterior palatine foramen. So the anterior palatine foramen क्या करता है? It leads into a canal that is known as Palatine Canal is there. That is known as Palatine Canal. And the another opening of this Palatine Canal here, it is the posterior Palatine foramen. ठीक है? So this is anterior Palatine foramen, this is posterior Palatine that opens into the as maxillary hiatus. This is known as maxillary hiatus. So here this just downwards to the anterior palatine foramen, there is a groove through which the palatine artery that passes. This is the palatine groove. ठीक है? So this is the palatine surface of the horizontal part of the palatine bone, and this one that is the perpendicular part. So this was the palatine surface, while as the opposite to this there is the nasal surface. Show you. So that is here. This is the nasal surface that is concave, and this is here. It is the lateral surface which is irregular and it joins with the maxilla. ठीक है? Now there are borders. This one, it is the anterior border. You can see from here. This is the anterior border. The anterior border, it joins with the palatine process of the maxilla. So here is a suture present that is known as transverse palatine suture. ठीक है? इसको transverse palatine suture बोलते हैं. And the anterior border, it joins with this palatine process of the maxilla. This is the posterior border. It generally remains free, and here the soft palate remains attached here. And the third, that is here, this is the medial border. The medial border, it joins with the horizontal part of the opposite bone. ठीक है? So this is the medial border, this is the anterior border, and this is the posterior border. So this was all about the horizontal part, जो ये horizontal part of the palatine bone. Now coming to the next part, that this is the perpendicular part of the maxillary bone. ठीक है? So it forms the lateral wall of the, so यहाँ पे क्या रहते हैं, posterior nares, and between there is the vomer bone. So they form the lateral wall of the posterior nares. And यहाँ पे क्या होता है, जो this horizontal part on it laterally, it is overlapped with, this is the pterygoid process of the sphenoid, that is the post sphenoid, and while as medially it is overlapped with this is the pterygoid bone. ठीक है, आपको दिखाऊंगा यहाँ से. This is the pterygoid bone. ठीक है, this is the pterygoid bone. Medially and laterally there is the pterygoid process. ठीक है, and this here there is a foramen present that is known as suphenopalatine foramen. So it is formed between this palatine, that is the perpendicular part of palatine bone. Then we have the part of the ethmoid bone, and then we have the sphenoid, that is called as suphenopalatine, between the presphenoid, ethmoid, and the that is this is the perpendicular part of the palatine bone. And here have a fossa that is known as pterygopalatine. This one, pterygopalatine fossa is there. This is the pterygopalatine fossa. Here, pterygopalatine fossa is there. So this was all about this, that is the palatine bone of the skull of the ox.